What do you think this meeting's about?
No idea, but I hope it's about getting raises. My wife just had twins.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Oh no, they died. I just like money.
Executives! I called you here to make an important announcement. Hollywood is out of ideas.
Really? Are you sure?
Well, let's just look at the recent movies we've made. Videodrome, Flashdance, Porky's 2, Jaws 3D, Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You guys do whatever you want. I'm gonna crash 3 of the 9 boats I own into each other.
So do you have any ideas?
Sure.
Okay, great. Tell me one.
Oh, then I have no ideas.
Hey, fellas, I have this great idea for a movie.
Perfect. Tell me so I can tell him.
I want to drive a taxi.
Bad news. I still have nothing.
So, Sly, you want to drive a taxi for the whole movie?
Nah, not the whole movie. Probably like 5 minutes.
But, Sly, you can't make a 5-minute movie.
Well, I don't know. Fill the rest in with music. People love that stuff.
All right, Sly, we'll do it on one condition.
What's that?
You pick the name out of this hat and proudly announce the title of the movie.
Oh, okay. The movie's now called Rhinestone.
They irritate the irritated, flex perplexities, poise puzzles, magnify mysteries, impose inquiries, and coagulate quandaries. But more importantly, they ask one question.
Why would you make this?
Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for listening. This is Why Would You Make This? The only podcast to dedicate a 2-hour show to a 2-minute movie scene and then desperately grasp at straws when we try to ask the question, why would you make this? I am Jimmy Time. I'm joined by my co-host, Danny Money. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Yourself?
Not so bad. And J Delta, what it is.
What it is indeed.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I keep asking you. You keep asking me. I don't think we're ever going to find out that way.
What is it and what it is?
No, what is it has already been answered in a song.
Oh.
I think by 9 Inch Nails. I don't think that was them. No, In Living Color?
No.
9 Inch Nails are... What? No,
It's it. What is it?
Nope.
It's it.
I know what song you're thinking about. You're talking about, but I have no idea who sings it.
Oh, whatever. Okay, so right after the singing part. Yeah. So we watched Rhinestone. Mm-hmm. I didn't write down what dates it came out, so we're not going to talk about that at all because I'm done with talking about the date film came out. That's not happening no more, folks. It came out in like 1984. I don't know when, but the film was lost in translation. Like, really badly lost in translation.
Yeah, I took a peek at a few of these.
So Brazil called it Rhinestone, the brightness in the night. Okay. Soviet Union called it Rhinestone, but that's like a translation of mountain crystal.
Yes, because she's a gorgeous crystal. What comes from the mountains of Tennessee?
Good enough. Okay. Poland actually called it mountain crystal. They didn't have any translation outside of that. And Bulgaria called it artificial diamond, which...
Well, because he's like a diamond in the rough, but not a real cowboy diamond in the rough, like a fake. She turns him into a cowboy.
He's a rhinestone cowboy.
Well, he's a fake rhinestone cowboy.
You can have fake rhinestones? Good Lord. Okay, this next batch of titles at least has something that has to do with the movie. It's something at all. So, Hungary called it Singer Hunk.
Okay.
It has something to do with it. France did not have a French title. They had an English title, which was New York Cowboy.
Okay.
Wasn't there another movie called something like that?
New York Cowboy?
Yeah.
Midnight Cowboy?
No, I don't know, but...
There's the Naked Cowboy in New York.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of all the time. So... Mexico and Peru called it the Careless Taxi Driver. I don't know about this one, but Portugal called it the Yellow Taxi Unlocked. That one slipped in there. That should have been somewhere else. I don't know why that was in there. That should have been later in the list. Italy called it Nick the Unleashed. Greece called it Nick the Brawler. Or my translation was wrong, and they called it Rain Down. This next set, nope, nothing to do at all. There's nothing to do with this film. Czech Republic called it Christmas Baby, or my translation was wrong, and the film is called Cat's Gold. Okay?
That's one of my favorite movies from the 60s. You never seen that? Christmas Baby, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Cat's Gold?
I love the other one, which is Christmas Baby, The Legend of Cat's Gold. It's Christmas Baby 2. Yeah, of course. Okay, Romania called it The Challenge, which I think the Yellow Taxi Unlocked and the Challenge must have got switched, because the Challenge actually makes kind of sort of sense.
Yeah.
So those must have got switched around the list. Turkey called the film At the Summit. No.
Yeah,
Not
what's
even some, not even a little bit.
They just ran the other Sly Stallone movie, Cliffhanger,
Oh,
instead of it.
Yes, they just lost the translation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. West Germany maybe also watched Cliffhanger instead, because they called the film The Vertical Starter.
All right.
Or I messed up the translation and it was called The Wiz. Not W-I-Z like Wizard of Oz. W-H-I-Z like the store. Remember the store?
Yeah.
Nobody beats The Wiz.
Maybe, right? Maybe they at least release it in a bunch of these countries in the U.S. first, Rhinestone, and they had already bought the theater space in, like, West Germany and Turkey, and they were like, let's run the Cliffhanger movie instead.
Oh, like it was all the old bait and switch?
Yep.
Like they were just like, let's just do it. Oh, okay. Maybe.
Although I'm pretty sure Cliffhanger was made after this.
Yeah, so way after this.
Yeah.
And John Lithgow's the bad guy.
That was like, at the end of the film, I tried to write a sequel, and I was like, oh, and then he becomes he can't sing, he becomes a bum, and he turns to boxing, and then I looked up and Rocky was made before that. I can't.
So he goes crazy and joins the Special Forces and then gets kicked out of the Special Forces.
Yeah.
As Cobra.
Yeah. And then after that, he just tries to be himself and gets lost in the woods, but the local police won't have it.
And then finally, after he rescues his old colonel from Afghanistan, that's what happens in the third one.
Hang on! This whole mismatch of movies has gone too far! How dare you connect Rambo to Rambo 3? That doesn't make any sense! I'm not following you at all.
After that, he's this old, grizzled down guy, and he teams up with a bunch of old, grizzled, former special ops guys for three consecutive...
Yeah, we got it. Okay, so there's still one more for Lost in Translation, and it is the most lost. I tried to translate the Finnish title, and I got The Place of 1,000 Bays.
Okay.
I also got 1,000 Wing Places. And I also got The $1 Million Place. Then I went ahead and went, none of that can be right. So I asked Dr. Christopher Spar, podcast translation from the accredited, unaccredited school of Harvard. And he said it was the place of the 1,000th dollar, or it could be the place of $1,000, or it could be the golden place.
Got it.
So I don't know what it's called in Finland. Then I suggested it should be called the Golden Palace, and he went, that makes more sense. But he said it didn't translate to
Well,
that.
it's because Rhinestone is the bar,
Yeah.
and I guess they don't have a translation for Rhinestone, and because it's about the place, they're like, oh, it is the shiny diamond gold place.
Sure.
But,
Should have just called it Mine Shaft. All right, so hopefully some of that information explains even a little bit why it made whatever it made. Danny Bunny.
I was only able to find the domestic grossing for the movie, which was $21.4 million, which, thinking of that, it did not do too bad with its budget of $28 million.
I mean, it did bad,
Yeah,
but not too bad.
Yeah.
It lost money, but not a ton of money.
Yeah.
But like I said, at the same time, that's just going on the domestic that they made $21.4 million, so who knows what they made international, if anything.
Yeah.
Which
DVDs,
they probably
yeah.
didn't make anything international that I think about it.
Wouldn't be able to find it.
Yeah.
I don't see the appeal like that Americans have for like that cowboy hillbilly.
I don't know. I don't like that. That's you live that way because you have to. Like it's not fun.
Yeah,
Like I don't. They're the original hipsters.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Wow. Broke that shit down real quick. I did not
Yeah.
expect that. Yeah, like
Oh my-
steampunk and yeah. That's
These fucking New York City, because this takes place in New York City. New York City motherfuckers who like dress up like cowboys. Oh, I'm living the tote life in my blue jeans.
yeah.
And I live up on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And
Ugh. Lower East Side. Whatever. I don't know.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, Upper East Side. I think that's
That's
Harlem.
that's the black side.
Cowboys don't go anywhere.
One of my favorite bits of Patrice is he talks about the streets of New York and he's like, when they sell cocaine, like you get to like 100-something street where black people start coming out and they still like, oh, yo, we got that yayo for your nose, you know what I'm saying? We got that dust or whatever. You go up to 120, 130 street, they go, yo, I got cocaine, son. A brick of cocaine, right? Because they don't care. There's no cops. They just go, I got cocaine for you to snort in your nose. That's how they sell it. Oh, man. Patrice O'Neill. So, let's go from one of our favorite comedians to our favorite hour.
The best hour?
Yeah, the Troy McClure hour. Hello, I'm Troy McClure. You'll recognize me from such not even trying attempts at entertainment as the Dennis Miller Analogy Hour and The Thing That Did Some Stuff. Yeah, I wasn't even trying.
That was the 1984 Kurt Russell movie.
The Thing That Did Some Stuff?
Well, The Thing.
Oh. Oh, this is...
And then it did some stuff.
That's-
a thing, colon.
yeah, I did some stuff. Oh, okay. I didn't know I was good.
Well, most people don't know about the subtitle.
Yeah, all right, cool. So, Sylvester Stallone plays Nick. He has a last name, but they don't list it on IMDb. It's Martinelli.
Okay.
Is his last name.
Oh,
But on IMDb, it just says Nick.
Nick.
That's it. You'll recognize him as Barney Ross from the 2010 The Expendables franchise, because he's in all three of them. Mm-hmm. Gabe Walker in the 1993 Cliffhanger. And most recently, Stockard Ogard in the 2017 Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yep, he's in it.
Oh, yeah, you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it, and
Is it blatantly him, or is it like voice only? You
no,
know?
it's him. Like it's him, and like
Just
a
him with a
space-
funny name and like a horn.
Yeah,
No, he doesn't have a horn.
I was just guessing. like
no,
it's-
but it's
Space stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
him in like a space ranger uniform kind of thing, and they give him a bunch of sci-fi lines to read, and Sylvester says, he's gonna join the galaxy of some mystical like, it was
Sylvester
great.
Stallone's whole career is just, is he retarded? No. So it's okay to make fun of the way he talks,
Yeah.
right? It's totally okay?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, good. So next, Dolly Parton plays Jake Farris. And I really wish she had a female name, because this confuses me the whole fucking
Oh, yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
movie, I'm confused. Like, I wish they would have at one point went, oh, Jake, that's short for Jakealina, or something. Like, some name that I could have been like, all right, fine. No. You'll recognize her as Truvy Jones in 1989 Steel Magnolias.
Nope.
The caricature of Dolly Parton in the 1993 The Beverly Hillbillies. And most recently, Nolene in the 2017 episode The Salty Chicken of the ongoing animated television series Lily's Driftwood Bay.
How does she have her own theme park?
I don't know.
There's literally like
Because in the South, she's still famous. She's like the biggest thing since sliced bread in the South.
she's their Mickey Mouse. Because I was thinking, I was like, who else would name a theme park after
I don't mean to
themselves?
stop you. Do you know what the biggest thing before sliced bread was?
Bread itself.
Bagged bread. I'm not even joking. I couldn't believe
That's crazy.
the idea of putting it in a bag.
There's no way a bag came before slicing.
The problem with that is,
See, the thing
I'm
is I
behind
can
you.
see it. I can totally see that a bag came before slicing.
The thing about it is, I'm with Delta. Is that makes no sense to me. So the only way it works in my head is if the bag is like just a burlap sack, like just a burlap sack. It's not a plastic bag. It's just like an arid sack that it didn't keep the bread at all.
Like they skinned a raccoon and then like
Yeah.
they just turned the skin inside out and put the bread in it.
They're like, hey, what do you usually keep in your what is it, coon skin sack? You know, bullets and hay and like whatever. You know, you can put bread in there.
Whoa. You can't put bread.
I mean, that's borderline blaspheme talk.
There's no way. Bags came...
Look, I didn't believe it either. I'm just passing on the alleged truth. The unresearched truth.
Yeah. I saw some guy post it online, so it must be true.
No, I saw some guy post it on a telephone pole. Like, yeah, of course it was online. Where do you think I saw it?
Just signs of little breaking news.
Yeah.
Bag before sliced. Pass it on.
Fish might not be animals, you know, stuff like that. Oh, man. So finally, Richard Farnsworth plays Noah Ferris. You recognize him as Red Blow in the 1984 The Natural. Buster in the 1999 Misery. And most recently, Alvin in the 1999 The Straight Story. He died October 6th, 2000. So that's it. It's the last time you'll ever see him in a film. I mean, you know, besides reruns.
Yeah.
You can see the full cast and crew at imdb.com. Okay. You guys want to start the film?
Sure.
No, we can start.
Nah, let's start. Okay.
Well, actually, before we start the film,
Uh-oh.
quick question. How old did you think they were supposed to portray throughout this movie, Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone?
Stallone 30s, her 40s.
Oh, yeah. No. I thought they were supposed to be portraying, like, maybe, like, 20. Maybe her was, like, 30 and he was, like, 20 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I thought around the lines of
Yeah.
you. But in real life, during this movie, Stallone's 38 and Dolly Parton's 39.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
He aged a lot better than her.
Yeah, seriously, because when I saw this, I was like, is she supposed to be 10 years older than him?
Yes.
Let me look this up. And when I saw that they were only a year apart, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It's all diet. That's
I guess.
it's like
Oh, well, the
like beans and grits and
yeah, that's no good for you.
fried biscuits and
That's no bueno.
I would think. That's why Japanese people live to like 100.
Because they don't cook their meals?
No, because like they eat like rice and fish and just clean stuff, not fried everything.
Oh.
I guess.
Like Okinawa has the highest per capita person that lives to 100. Yeah, you just eat.
But
I
fish,
mean,
rice.
like on one hand, that's pretty cool, but on the other hand, why? Like, why do you want to live that long? Like, I'm 30 and I'm like, ugh, I'm done. This shit's getting old. I'm getting, oh my God. What's the average lifespan? 80? Really?
And I think in Japan, you retire at like 55 or 60.
What the fuck are you going to do for the next 50 years?
Adopt younger people so your family isn't shamed. Like,
there's a new show on Netflix called like, oh man, Sushi Samurai or some weird, and it's literally just follows a retired businessman as he like goes and tries new food places.
oh, I thought you were going to say only sushi places. That makes sense, all right.
Like the first one, he goes and tries ramen, but it's not like a documentary style. It's not like, oh, we're gonna follow this actual.
It's not like Anthony Bourdain's, like, whatever that is. Let's go eat food and shit. No, that's it. Anthony Bourdain's Let's Go Eat Food and Shit.
Yeah, but it's called something samurai because he's like, oh no, I'm too scared to try this meal. But what would a samurai do? And then he'll like envision a samurai like kicking in the door in the 16th.
yeah, I think I saw some of that.
So
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so weird. Yeah,
but I love it.
It's like, picture a YouTube video that just went full-blown Japanese. Like, that's kind of what it is. But like an unboxing Japanese video. Like, it's just an unbox. He just unboxes food, and he's like, but how would a samurai unbox it? All those sound effects. Oh yeah, let's do it. We're doing a film, aren't we?
It's unfortunate.
So let's start the film.
Oh my god.
Okay, so the film opens on yodeling. Oh my god, what did I do to us? No! And there's helicopter shots of the Statue of Liberty, and we get some lyrics that open over credits, over shots of 1980s New York, until we get to the Rhinestone bar. Yay! I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm already like, dude, fuck the South.
Yeah.
It's so bad. The one thing I had to point out is she says, we'll go and get our poles, and we'll go down to the fishing hole. And I go, stop. That's a lake.
Yeah.
You're talking about a fucking lake. It's not a fish. It's not a hole. It's not a fishing hole. A fishing hole sounds literally like a hole that fish just keep pouring out of.
No,
Like,
fishing hole is you go to the Arctic and it's like, oh my god, we need a fish.
Yeah.
And you gotta saw a hole nice.
they're talking about a lake.
And yeah, it's everything coming out of the South is just, man, isn't the South great? That's literally all that comes out of the South. Man, don't you miss the South? They come up here, those lousy Southerners come up to our land, take our welfare, and complain, and just say, oh man, remember how good the South was? Well, how about you go back to the South?
Go back where you came from. Lousy Southerners.
Sadly enough, I think that was what they ended up winning at the end of the Civil War was, okay, you can brag on about how great the South is, even though everybody up north really knows what a shithole you guys really are down there.
Like, that was...
Wait, hang on. How did they lose the Civil War and won some? How did they win anything when they lost the war?
They want pretend bragging rights.
How do they win stuff when they lose a war? I don't understand. How do they win?
I follow Danny Money. Danny Money's saying they sat down to sign the treaty or whatever. They're like, total unconditional surrender of the South on one condition. Rest of the lives of all the United States, we get to brag that the South's gonna rise again. They're like, all right, whatever, shut up. We already burned down half you.
People died, you assholes. Fine. Let's just go on. This super rich guy, Freddie, pulls up in a limo, and he's like, I'm super rich. Everyone's like, you know it, pal. Inside, Dolly Parton is continuing to sing that song that we heard on stage. Freddie hits on her from the audience, and then she finished her song. She's like, there's going to be a big amateur talent show later, so stick around. Yeah. We jump to an airport, and Japanese tourists are getting picked up by Sylvester Stallone in a very reckless taxi cab. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he's completely reckless. Japanese tourists. Racist or culturally accurate?
Oh, damn. Because this is New York in the 80s.
I can't
So
say.
it's really tough.
I don't know. So we go back to the Rhinestone. And the rich Freddie hits on Jake.
I gotta... This just popped into my head.
Okay.
When did the transition of taxi driver go? Like, the stereotype of a taxi driver go from being, like, a dirty, busted-up white dude to a Middle Eastern? Like, when did that transition happen? Because you had, like, Taxi and this, where it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of normal middle-class white guys playing taxi driver.
I assume it had to be, like, somewhere, like, in the transition from the 80s to 90s, because that's when, like... It started to be, like, first you had the show Taxi, and, like, the most foreign guy was Lot Guy, and he was a white guy. Like, he was a white guy pretending to be another white guy from a fake foreign country. Like, it wasn't... like, racist? It's not real, so what, against what? Or who? Like, you go ahead and tell me. So, yeah, I presume, like, once that show died down, and then, like, the only representation of taxi drivers they had was probably, you know, Robert De Niro and, like, Taxi, who's a crazy murderer, and they probably started coming out with, like, murder like hitchhikers, come in my taxi and I'll kill you. And then they're like, white people were like, nah, I gotta step away from that shit.
So you're saying TV and movies are what talked white people out of being cab drivers?
What I'm saying is TV and movies are the entire white condition. Like anything that happens on TV and movies,
White people go, yep, that's life.
That's 100%. That's.
What other records are we going to have of the past?
Think about it. Think about how, like, in, like, 2001 and 2 and 3 and 4, it was like, America, but get yourself together, son. But now, you had, like, Honey Boo Boo and shit like that, and people were like, it's okay to be fat.
Yeah.
It's okay to be racist, because the president is a guy who does that thing sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't. I'm really flip-flopping on the whole subject.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, but definitely. So, yeah, that's, like, TV and movies dictate white culture, like, 100%.
All right.
So, yeah.
Honey, they canceled Taxi. I'm quitting my job.
Quitting the business. I'm selling the taxi. I'm quitting it.
That explains why all of the 90s, every, like, middle-class white guy show is like, oh, they gotta go bowling. It's like, the grand white people conspiracy was like, oh, we gotta get money to these bowling
alleys. I just realized, bowling alleys have no cash. We gotta really throw something there. That's what it is. It's the same thing, you know? We started to realize that the value in white women is going really far down. Like, even black guys were like, nah. So we had to go ahead and pump that value back up. So we start doing movies and TV shows, and all it's all right there. So, in the Rhinestone, right? Can I move on yet, or do you want to have something?
No, we can move on.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, Freddie hits on Jake some more, and then he hypes up his new, like, whatever. Guy, his new partner.
His new talent.
His new talent that he has to his partner. Then later on, he hits on Jake again, and Jake's like, oh, you're lucky I have a contract with you. And so now we know that. We go back to the taxi, and Sly Stallone is still being a reckless maniac. We go back to the Rhinestone, and Freddie introduces his amateur talent on stage, and he acts tough, and he quiets the rowdy crowd. And I just want to say, before we get into it, I just want to say that Freddie goes, oh, don't worry, he's going to finish. I coached him myself. And based on what I know about Freddie's character, saying the phrase, I coached him myself, means that Freddie fucked him.
Yeah.
That's 100% what happened. Freddie fucked that guy. But yeah, so
I love
this guy on stage.
Well, when he goes up on stage, everyone's like, look at this fucking...
Yes.
And he's like, shut your mouth. I was like, wow, this guy's serious.
Yeah.
But how serious could he be? And then he picks up the microphone and just, like, awkwardly, slowly bends it.
I love that. That's my favorite part about it, because he takes the microphone stand by, like, the metal stand and tries to, like, iron bar it, right?
Yeah.
Like, bend it in half. But then it cuts to the front of it, and he's got, like, the stand in his hand. He's, like, wrestling, like, like it's so bad.
You're like, dude, that's not even impressive.
You really struggle with that, bro. Like, you want to sit down? Like, you're going to sing after that?
Yeah.
You have any air in your lungs left?
Pulls out a phone book. He tries. Just 10 minutes of him on stage.
Now I'm gonna sing a song for you folks. He's after struggling with this shit for 10 minutes. So yeah, he sings a song about how he was going to marry his baby on the wedding day, but she had an obligation to her farm work, even on her wedding day, and she got sucked into her tractor wheels and died. Yeah. And everybody laughs, specifically because he says that she has a duty to her crops.
Yeah.
And they're like, duty to her crops.
I mean, it was hilarious, but that's not
why it was, but it was hilarious because she died.
At first, I was like, oh, he's like the first, like, comic songwriter.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
No, he was very serious. He cried afterwards. So, yeah, he goes, oh, no, don't laugh. Everything that happened is true. And then everyone laughs even
louder.
harder.
Yeah, of course.
Why wouldn't they? Where am I? Oh, okay. Freddie's partner this guy's really warped. And Freddy's like, no, don't worry. I haven't even bet a guy next week. Next week, I'm going to have a guy who wears a turban under his cowboy hat. I'm like, what? Do you even know what music is anymore? Like, what are you doing, Freddy?
Are you a wrestling
gimmick
manager?
acts.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like,
Nothing. I was going to shit on someone for BBW.
Don't do that.
I'm not going to do that. I was going to be like, oh, look, next week I got so-and-so.
Yeah. And then next week you do have to wrestle him, and he's the one does the one podcast he listened to, and he fucking receipts the shit out of you.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
That would be. It would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
It would kind of be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. There you go. No, so Freddy gets mocked by Jake. She's like, "Oh, you trying to turn everybody into a rhinestone cowboy? You can't do that." And she's like, I bet I can do it better than you. And they're like, "All right, so boom, we're making a bet." 2 weeks, all expenses paid contest. You have to convince or get somebody else to be a great country western singer. Go. And at this point, I just go, I'm like looking at Dolly Parton and I go, her tits are so big that I am not convinced that she's not really a camel in a wig. Like, there's nothing you're saying that can't convince me of that. So they go out into the streets. And Freddy starts interviewing just like some lay-down drunk. He can't even talk. They're like, well, let's go to the next guy. The next guy runs out into the street and plays the street like drums.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that it is heartwarming to see that nothing has changed in New York City in over 40 years. In over 40 years. I think it was like a month ago or something like that. Or maybe 2 months ago. Walking to work. 2 p.m. There's a guy... 34th and 7th, laying off the curb so that his head is on the street and that his neck is on the curb, upside down, with his feet in the air, playing a trumpet. No bucket for money, no like, look at me, here's my sign, I'm the upside down trumpet, but just a guy who found a trumpet in the garbage and was just having a good time.
What are those magical garbage trumpets? That's my favorite fairy tale.
It's magical because it turns out that somebody smoked PCP in the trumpet. So there's a little bit left. That's why he keeps playing it. Getting high on leftover PCP. That's what he thinks he sounds like. All right, so Jake is like, listen, you're ruining what little chance I have of this contest. And Freddy's like, you're trying to welch on this deal. And she's like, no, okay, fine. Next person who stands in front of me, I'll take us. That's who we're doing it with. And that's when Nick, the taxi driver, shows up. He's like, because I don't know what the hell he says.
Grab my car.
Yeah, gobble, gobble, gobble. You gobble, 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 gobble. And, eventually everyone reluctantly agrees to the bet. So they go into the Rhinestone or whatever, and Nick hits on Jake, and Nick blames Jake. Like, you're the reason I crashed my taxi car, because you're so distracting, you're so beautiful, I had to look at you instead or whatever. And Jake's like, oh, you're just a horny toad. And
What convinced him to go into the bar? There's no way he didn't think, Freddy was gonna pay him to, or like, hey, you want to fuck my wife and let me watch?
I don't know.
There's no way Stallone's...
It had to have been free beer. It had to have been free out. Come inside, free drink.
Okay.
Because they gave him a free champagne and a beer. I don't know why he got
pours a beer into his champagne.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think Freddy just pours champagne into his glass. And then he's like, no, stop.
No, he had a bottle.
Yeah, so I think he was just like, stop it. I don't want that. I just poured the beer and I go, you're wasting it. You're like, go fuck yourself. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was him saying, go fuck yourself. So, yeah, after being called horny, he's like, I'm leaving. Nick leaves. Freddy's like, okay, that's it. That means you lost the bet. You said it was going to be him, and he just left. That means you're not going to be able to... That's it. Mm-hmm. The bet's over. And she's like, no, fine. And she leaves to go look for him. So we go to sometime later. We go to a taxi depot, and Jake, who again, at this point, I feel the need to point out, is Dolly Parton, the female character.
Jake, that's it.
Because it's so confusing at this point. She goes to the taxi headquarter dispatch thing, and she's looking for Nick, and he slowly, clanks in as they're talking, And the boss is like, you crashed the car, what the heck you doing? That's it, you're fired. And he's like, take your garbage clothes and your garbage lady and leave. and he's like, you're insulting my clothes? You insult my clothes? Then I resignate.
Yes,
Which
I
is
love that.
not a word, but it's great. So Jake, again, Dolly Parton, tells Nick, why not? That's Stallone, in case you forgot. Don't worry, you can get another job. And Nick is like, yeah, whatever, you hillbilly, bimbo, skank, slut. He's
so mean to her for the next, 10 minutes.
Dude, from the start of this film until now, the whole film has been just men going, you dumb skank, and Dolly Parton going, well, shucks.
It pretty much is. It pretty much shows America in the 80s. Women have no opinion, but they definitely make a good sex object, and they always want to bone you, no matter what they say.
It's added into the bet. Okay, your contract, either we get rid of it or we extend it. Oh, and also, I'm going to bang you. And she's like, well, rhubarb my pie. And okay, we're going to do it.
Rhubarb my Yes. Yes. Of course that's what they'd say.
It's the South, man.
Well, not even just that. Every interaction she has with a guy in this, the first automatic thing is, I'm going to get in her pants. She could say no, but I'm getting in there.
Yeah, that's the 80s. What do you want?
What? Women are things.
Yeah.
It's just how it was back then. I'm sorry. So, Jake convinces Nick that Freddy can fix the whole thing. I don't know who any of these people are. They go to Freddy's place. It's in fucking Trump Tower. Of course it is.
Well, it's the 80s. What's rich and obnoxious in the 80s?
What's rich and obnoxious in the 2000s?
Yeah, I can't believe that this man's image has never changed since the moment he's been around. And people are still like, nah, he's probably great. Why wouldn't he be?
As far back as I can remember, he's always been look at this fucking guy.
This sleazy slumlord.
And he'd be on SNL, or they'd make fun of him on SNL, and they'd be like, yeah, fucking Donald Trump, that scumbag. Yeah, he's rich, but he's so
Yeah. Well, we can't change the past. Anyway.
Or the present.
Or the future, it turns out, yeah. So they talk about what's going to happen, Jake and Freddy do. Well, Nick walks around the apartment looking at art pieces, talking to art pieces. Hey, how's it going? What are you doing? You got a sister? Hey, good.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Dude, that's what I figured out, which is the same thing. Hey, how you doing? Hey, no respect. And then
So what you're saying is we got to somehow edit together clips, right? You know, those supercuts people make where it's like, oh, it looks like person A from movie is talking to person from other movie. You got to edit them together. So Rodney Dangerfield
it's
is
just
slow.
two retards yelling at each other.
Which is funny that you guys say that, because when he does his country voice, for some reason, it reminds me a lot of John Travolta. Don't know why.
Hey, hello. I think Travolta sounds like a parrot. Oh my god.
They all sound a little bit like a farm animal.
Oh my god. And that explains why one of them was famous in the 70s, one of them was famous in the 80s, and one of them was famous in the 90s. Oh! It explains it. It's just, we need a funny voice guy now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he is right. Because if you think of the 90s, it's Tim Allen, and he just says
Look, in the 80s you had Eddie Murphy, then in the 90s you had Steve Urkel. I don't know who the 2000s was. Probably like Eddie Griffin or somebody like that.
Yeah,
Nick Cannon.
I don't know what Nick Cannon's laugh sounds like.
Oh.
I've never seen him smile. Poor man. And then now it's what's that guy's name? He was the champion at Midnight.
Ron Funches?
Yeah, he's the new funny laughing black
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
It's every decade we just go, just get another one of those. I don't know who the funny laughing white man is now. I don't
know who it used to be.
Well, it was Tim Allen. And then, yeah.
Oh,
maybe it transmutated from laugh to like just grunts.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then so it went from heater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That weird 2000.
Yeah.
For some reason.
The redneck comedy tour and the let's just give them a ton of money and we'll put Larry the Cable Guy in movies and look, Cars, kids love Disney and Pixar. Yeah, put Larry the Cable Guy in there.
Not even just that, like comedy in the 2000s I found to be very weird because it was like it was either the redneck comedy tour or it was Jeff Dunham and his puppets. And I was just like, why either?
I'm 100% serious. We got to get these Southerners out from influencing our country. Sick of it. They come up north. They complain about how great the South was.
You're not wrong.
They pollute comedy.
Okay, so whatever. They make demands to Freddie. Freddie agrees to them blindly. Oh, because he goes, I got some demands. And he goes, what do you think of country music? And Nick goes, it's worse than liver. He goes, worse than liver? I agree to everything. He's like, I don't care. I agree to all the things you say. They go outside in front of a newsstand. They do a double entendre sexual joke about an organ. Oh, come see my organ. He's talking like a church organ.
I have a huge organ.
Yeah. Some people keep looking and going, and they give thumbs up.
This just felt like the laziest garbage.
So it turns out Nick lives over a funeral parlor, and they climb up the fire escape because you don't want to use the front door unless you like corpses and zombies. And
he's lived presumably over a funeral parlor his entire life,
the whole life,
and zombies.
Yeah, corpses and zombies. And...
Which just makes me think, he's from an Italian family. We don't meet him, but he probably has brothers and sisters. Probably terrified him as a kid. Like, he's the youngest, and they just tortured him, dressed up like zombies, and convinced him.
I think he does say he has a sister. Because later on, they're talking in, like, the room, and he mentions, I got a cousin, I don't listen to the sad story. I don't care. I'm not interested. So, yeah, he shows Jake the organ. He plays a really, really bad version of Tutti Frutti, both music-wise and singing-wise. Turns out there's an active funeral happening downstairs. Nick's dad comes upstairs, and he's like, stop playing. I told you never play before. And he's like, who's this lady? Oh, my God, she's great. If you can't handle it, you call me. I'll help you. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. Because, again, she's aged way worse than Stallone.
Yeah.
Like, you look at her, and even back then, like, this was probably, her peak? Or was her peak in
No.
the 70s? I don't know. Whatever.
Her peaks are on her chest.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
She's considered fairly attractive, and I'm like, ugh. She's like, ugh.
It must have been. It must have been before this.
Yeah.
It had to have been before this. It can't be now. This could not have been it.
Yeah.
There's no way. Because if it was, I got more questions. So we go to dinner, or lunch, they said. Because it looks like dinner, but apparently it's lunch. It's Italian lunch. There's a whole bunch of food. Everybody's eating. Nick's dad ogles Jake and eats like grossly slow and it's like and like sucks
slurping.
He slurps like spaghetti and ravioli. I think he slurps bread. Like he just slurps.
Takes the meatballs, he puts them in his mouth, and just gargles.
Gargles, yeah.
Just
he takes the meatballs, he puts them in his napkin, and he just dangles them in his face.
just sauce streaks all over.
Awful. He takes a loaf of bread and just starts smacking himself in the face with it. He forgets who he's hitting on at this point. He doesn't even know what he's doing. So they ask where Jake is going to take Nick. Again, that's where Dolly Parton is going to take Sly Stallone, because I can't. They're like, where are you going to take him? We're going to take him to learn stuff. He's like, what is he? He doesn't need to learn. His brain is done growing. And I was like, oh, I'm leaving now. Fuck the whole meal. I'm out. I'm done.
What are you talking about? His brain, it's done growing.
Yeah, all right. So they kind of just start beating him down, and eventually Nick or Jake, or they leave. Everybody just leaves. They go, bye-bye, we're done, goodbye. So they go to a bus stop in the south somewhere, and men herd animals as the bus drops off Jake and Nick is dressed like Elvis mixed with Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
He's got like a suit, like a tight suit and suede shoes, but also a comically oversized bow tie.
And did you happen to notice on his jacket that he's wearing a little domino? Don't know why it's there.
What is the domino about?
I have no idea, but I noticed it in the next scene when they're in the car a lot more. Yeah, he has a domino there. Otherwise, he has some pin that for some reason on one half it'll have 4 dots and on the other half it has 6 dots. And the only thing I can think of is a domino. Why he would have a domino on his suit?
Yeah.
Not a fucking clue.
And before he had that, when he gets fired from the taxi place, he goes, take your stupid shirt, take your domino, and take your howdy doody lady and get out. So he does have an actual domino pin.
Yeah.
I don't know why. He changes all his other clothes, not the pin, I guess, or... I got no clue.
Maybe there was a cut scene, or...
I refuse to believe they cut anything from this film. There's no way they cut things from this film.
Yeah, they must have not cut anything for it to be 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, man. Originally, it was supposed to be like that Civil War movie, where it's 5 hours long with an intermission in between.
Just like the real Civil War.
Yes. And at the end, the Southerners still go, woohoo! South's gonna rise again! And we go, shut up!
Imagine if people still flew British flags in America.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is.
Oh,
Fucking...
just you wait. One day, the Queen, she's coming back to get us.
Where did I start? So... where do we go? Oh, Nick just meets everybody. I got this whole dissection about how, like, I don't understand how they understand the word howdy means hi, but they don't understand that how's it hanging also means, like, I don't, like, where's the disconnect there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how they don't think howdy means it's short for how do you. How do you do? Howdy do. Howdy do. Howdy. How, like, I don't understand how they can't, like, how she thinks, like, that nonsense means hello, but how's it hanging means, oh, how is gravity affecting your genitals?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was just like, yeah, and then the whole time they keep telling that he's slow. He must be the dumb guy.
Yeah, I found that really weird.
It just angered me.
There's another podcast I listen to, and it's...
Don't talk about it. It's garbage.
Yeah. So it's a garbage podcast, but apparently a big thing in the South, like, for the longest time, was hookworm, which...
Sounds awful.
It is
Sounds like a
awful.
disease.
It actually, like, makes you a little dumber and a little, like, lazier
Oh.
and dimwit, and it was...
Just from knowing about it.
It was a huge, huge problem in the South, because, like, in the South, it's like, nah, you ran around barefoot in the backyard, and it's like, that's how you would get hookworm.
Oh, and the worm somehow had a hook on it, and it would go in your
Get
feet.
in the foot, and then like crawl up into the foot, and then work its way into the digestive system, and then poop, and then it's transmitted, and it's like all the Southerners used to have outhouses instead of. Yep.
I don't know why you brought that up, but it's gross.
Because Southerners are dumb.
Oh, okay. Dumb and gross. Okay, good.
Dumb and gross.
But you know what, though? The South will rise again.
Yeah, the South's gonna rise again. It took them years and years to get running water.
Look, I doubt they'll be able to take. I doubt they'll be able to tell which direction rising is. So it's not. If they get to that
They'll
point,
just go further into Mexico.
they're just gonna go like left and go into the ocean, you know? Or right, whatever, whichever direction you want to go.
Coming for you, fish man.
Let's convince them that the only way to stop fishmen from taking over America is to depollute the ocean. You've seen Swamp Thing? They're real now.
Yeah.
Got to stop them. They're really open to ideas, and Al Qaeda already has their ears.
So either the Southerners all actually they're convinced and they stop polluting the ocean, or they grab their guns and just walk into the ocean. Either way,
It all fucking works, dude. Either way, right now we should invest in a scuba company because some of them are going to figure that out, and we should cash in on that. Waterproof guns. How do we do it? Let's start selling them.
Yeah.
So we get into a car, and Jake, again, that's Dolly Parton, lies about what's going to happen if she loses the bet. And she goes, I just don't get my contract back. And they're like, yep, that makes sense. That's how bets work.
Yeah.
One guy has a chance to lose one thing, and that's it. That's
it.
how bets work. So they go to rehearsal, and they sing a song called Too Much Water. I presume it's called that, because that's the only lyrics they say.
Yeah.
So that's my guess. The dad tells Jake, again, that's Dolly Parton, that her old boyfriend knows all about what's going on here and that he's in town. And I don't know how he does, but he does, apparently. Yeah. Also, it's Nick's turn to sing. So he comes up and he sings exactly like he did at the funeral parlor, which is pretty much just like yelling and like banging on things that aren't drums. And just, animals run away and children howl and it's just awful. So then they make him sing Old MacDonald. And it's poorly. Then he says Old MacDonald, and it's still not very good. So they're like, well, let's just go work on farm animals, I guess. So they go and work on farm animals.
How do you train to be a country singer?
You don't sing.
Yeah,
Number
correct.
one is you don't sing.
Yeah, you don't sing, and you go fiddle with farm animals and eat ungodly food.
Mix your peas with your taters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we do like this weird like semi-montage where it's like couple of scenes, but they talk. There's like lines or the scenes, but the scenes are only like 15 seconds long each. Nick rides a calf. He does it funny. Nick chops wood. He doesn't. He fails at it. And then Nick meets a horse, but he steps in horse poop. Whoops. He's not a very good cowboy. Whoops.
He stepped in poop. He's a bad cowboy.
What a dummy. Then we jump to Jake again. That's Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
She's dancing and singing, and Nick is very poorly playing the spoons and the washboard.
If that's what you want to call playing.
Very poorly, yeah, whatever. Look, don't get all high and mighty on the fucking washboard spoon technique he's pulling off here.
That's the South's great musical instrument export.
Exactly. That's all they had after the Great War. Spoons.
but they use them incorrectly.
Of course. Come on. Do you think the only thing that survives we're going to put in our mouth?
That's my presumption, is they have spoons, they know how spoons work, so those are broken spoons. That's what they've turned broken spoons into musical instruments. That's what makes sense.
Spoon stops working? Don't just throw it out.
It's a musical instrument. Oh, man. So we go to dinner, and Jake tells Nick how to speak and how to eat and do everything right. And Nick is like, oh, I do it your way. Look at this. Here, blah, blah, blah. And just starts eating with his hands and his fingers. And he's like, ah. And they insult each other. Nick is like, you're a drag. And Jake is like, well, you're a damn bum. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go be a bum. I'm going to go lay in a gutter. See ya. And he leaves.
Yeah.
That's what you do, yeah. I literally don't think you could find a gutter in Tennessee, like at all. You couldn't, they don't make them.
No.
All water drains into fishing holes. All of it. Everyone.
Outhouse, everything.
Yeah, it's all goes right into the fishing holes. I caught a fish. What type of fish? Oh, a brown fish. I think the outhouse is overflowing again.
I caught that hookworm again.
It's not fair, Ma. He keeps catching it. When's going to be my turn to catch it? So, we go to fog. There's just a big thicket of fog that Nick is walking through. And he's like, oh, taxi. Yeah, he's trying to get a hitchhiking. And a truck stops, and the guy is like looking out the passenger window as he's driving forward. Yeah. So Nick is like, everything's fine. Go away. I'm a cop. I'm doing business here. I'm working on the roads. Leave. And the Southerner's like, what a weirdo, and drives away. Yeah. And this was the scene that I was like, oh, there's no way there's deleted scenes. There's no way that this was in here, and then they deleted stuff from the film. It's obvious to me that money was no option. And I was right, because I looked it up. 8 producers.
Wow.
8 different producers for this film. So Nick wanders over to the cut and slice bar, or cut and slice bar. It's just an N. He wanders in. He eventually meets Buckley Swamp or whatever his name is. It's Barnett Kale, but I couldn't figure it out.
Is there a single black person in this movie?
Nope.
Not a
Not
single.
that I noticed. Not in Tennessee in the 80s, no.
No, but even the parts in New York.
There was one. He was standing behind a tree. That's the only place they allowed him to.
No, he was not standing behind. He wasn't standing behind the tree. I'll tell you that right now.
Then they propped him up pretty well.
Well, we call it something completely different.
But I wouldn't call it a prop. I'd call it maybe dangle.
Yeah, dangle. Something. What's a word like dangle? It means sort of the same thing as dangle.
Yeah, sort of, they flagpoled him real well. Yikes. So, Barnett Kale shows up. He asks Nick a bunch of offensive New York questions, like, what's it like to try heroin? You ever banged a hooker? I forget the questions immediately.
What's heroin like?
Yeah, of course.
How's the mob?
Oh, how's the mob? That's what it was, yeah. I would have been like, what's it like to fuck your sister? Oh, you don't remember? Well, what's it like to fuck a horse? Or another, you fuck animals, that's all I got. You fuck sheep, you fuck cow, you fuck
fucking
animals.
dirty hookwormed hillbilly.
You fuck your sister and got hookworm from her pussy. Oh, man. So, yeah, they get along and they drink. The next day, Nick is asleep in the duck pen. Jake comes out. She's like, you had a good time, huh? What'd you do? He's like, I hung out with this weird guy. What's his name? Barney, whatever. And she's like, Barnett Kale. Just starts breaking shit in her house. And the dad comes out and explains, as her boyfriend. So, she's just going to do this. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. You know women folk. They get to hooting and hollering, but this is the one thing you can't hoot and whatever. I don't know. So we go to Jake's room, and Nick walks in and he apologizes. Like, just tell old Saint Nick all about it. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
That's fucking gross. She was like, you know how it is. We used to date. He got to drinking, and I left, and that's it.
So, why are you so angry if that's it?
I know. First off, I just want to say that the phrase, he got to drinking, is the most quaint way to say that he had a severe bout of alcoholism. Like,
And beat me.
Yeah, and viciously beat me about the face and neck. Like,
Because this is the 80s. Alcoholism still isn't a problem. It's just something that happens and everyone just ignores. Still.
it's just one of them things, I got a bucket at home that has holes in it. My uncle's an alcoholic. It's just the way it is. Sometimes I say, get, cow, get, and it don't get. Sometimes my uncle drinks and beats me, It's just the way of life. I keep saying my uncle, but I mean my boyfriend. Again, same guy, so don't worry. That was the one that was too much for you, really? That was it? All right. So...
Listen, the beating I can ignore and shine an eye away from.
The beating you can ignore. What a guy. Danny Money.
The friendly incest, no, sir. That's too much. We gotta bring the pastor and have a talk.
Look, I mean, who doesn't get a little drunk and punch a girlfriend in the nose?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say get a little drunk and fuck your mom. Oh, sorry.
I thought that's what you was going to go with also.
I'm sorry.
This ain't Back to the Future.
Not with that head.
Yeah.
You ain't had enough to drink if you ain't going back in time. Look, some people drink and they beat their mom. Some people drink and they beat their mom's pussy. Everybody does their own thing, you know what I mean?
South's gonna rise again.
In the pants. So, we're in Jake's room still, and he's like, you called me a bum before, and I don't like that. Like, I come from a long line of bums. This is when he says, my cousin was a bum, his nephew and niece, blah, blah. And they're like,
That's not how...
Yeah, a long line of bums isn't a line of succession from somebody you're not really even related to. Like, it's
like usually if you're like, I come from a long line of bums. My father was a bum. My grandfather. It's like, nah, look, my cousin over there.
Oh, man, I don't know if I should do this. I mean, I come from a long line of failures. I mean, my roommate's a failure. My dry cleaner's a failure. My postman's a failure. I mean... we all come from the same stock, So, yeah, they decide, all right, let's just get along and go and rehearse. So they go to rehearse, and this is when Nick sings the song Drinkenstein. It's like, I want to sit here and go, I can't believe that they made this song for this movie, but it's a real song. It's a real song that Dolly Parton sang.
I'm sure.
And I don't know if they made it for this movie, but she fleshed it out afterwards, if not. And I don't know which one's worse, to be honest.
I drink and I turn into a monster.
Yeah.
And let's sing and celebrate it.
Yeah, that's also kind of a weird thing is the lyrics are like back and forth because he sings the lyrics, they call him Drinkenstein, but then in the end they call me Drinkenstein. Which, in, like, the actual song, she sings, it's always, they call him, that guy, him, he's Drinkenstein. It's not about, like, at the end, it doesn't turn out that Dolly Parton's Drinkenstein. It's always some...
So, in the actual song, she's singing about how the guy she's with, he's getting to drinking.
He got to drinking and figured out he can close his fists.
Stallone, it's an infectious disease. Well, this guy has alcoholism, and then I caught alcoholism. Now we're both Drinkensteins.
It's like a bug. It's going around. You got the flu? No, but I got the Drinkenstein. It would be. Yeah, of course. Based on everything we just talked about, yeah, they would think it's a actual communicable disease that you can gain and cure.
Oh, shit. Just shared a beer mug with old Freddy down there.
You better get down to the church. You don't want to break out in Drinkenstein.
Get down to the church. Yeah. Well, they don't have actual medicine.
No, it's the
No, but with the power of prayer, God will take out anything.
Pastor's going to come and rub a Bible on your forehead.
Boy, I'm going to take that Drinkenstein right out of you and cleanse your soul.
Whap! Smacks him with the Bible. Oh, man.
Just a potato sack.
No, a bread sack. That's what they did. Out where the bread's supposed to go. Yeah. What are you doing with that Bible sack? Putting bread in it? Well, boy, howdy. I ain't heard of nothing till I heard of this.
Hey, Johnny, you hear? Old Steve turned his Bible sack into a bread sack.
Oh, you just whistling Dixie. I genuinely don't know if I'm speaking gibberish or accurate Southern like phrases. I don't know. I have no clue. I've got no clue which ones I'm saying. So what do we do? Yeah, Drinkenstein. Oh. Jake's dad is like, wow, those clothes sure are you. They look great.
Wait, and who's Jake again?
Jake is Dolly Parton. I think, maybe. Yes, Nick is like, I hate these clothes, blah. And at this point, I just go in like full-blown like conspiracy mode. And I go, I wonder, because Jake's dad is like, oh, those clothes sure are you. Oh, they're definitely your clothes, all right. And I go, I wonder if the reason Southerners hate those filthy, like, New York Jew bankers because they think Jews stole sarcasm from them. Again, I got bored with the film. I was just doing my own thing.
I was expecting a totally different question from you.
Oh, yeah?
I thought you were going to say is the reason why Southerners hate the gays is because, like, up here in New York, you could just be gay and open about it.
About what? Your weird clothes style?
Yeah, you could dress outrageous and...
They think gay is dressing flamboyantly.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with your sexual intercourse.
Nope, they just saw a video of Boy George and went, well, you don't want that.
Gay marriage is all about how two people have to wear a tuxedo and a gown when they get married. None of this flamboyant orange and blue feathered.
Ain't gonna have it. No. Ain't gonna have no dyed hair.
Tuxedo and gown. One of you better have a veil or I'm bringing out a pitchfork.
Actual Southern. This is actual stuff that happens in
the
South.
It got too real. That's why. It got too real. That's why the laughter died. That's why the laughter died. That's why. So, yeah, Nick and Jake, whoever they are, they're teaching each other how to walk. I forget. Barkley shows up, or Barnett, that's his name, and he takes over the teaching.
Jock itch is the trick, right?
Yeah, you gotta walk like you have jock itch.
Isn't that like a fungal infection?
Yeah, I'm almost positive I've never had it.
I don't think.
I'm glad I haven't.
I think if you get it, you have to like get dick spray or
It's hookworm.
it's
It's dick hookworm.
that explains why.
You get it from fucking your sister. It's all right there. I just told you the whole story. What are you asking me for? All right, so yeah, Barnett takes over teaching, which takes the whole night, and we jump to the cut and slice where Nick is like, "Oh, I'm done drinking," and Barnett's like, "No, I got some more. Let's go inside the bar and drink some more." And they go in, and suddenly Jake shows up. Dolly Parton. Jake shows up. And she's
Party's
like,
over.
Let's dance, Nick. And they go and dance.
So
And I was like, oh, okay. And they just dance. And they're like, oh, this is nice. You're doing real great at singing, Nick. And he's like, well, shucks, Missy. And I was like, where the fuck did this accent come
Yeah.
from? I sure do think you're the best girl I ever seen. And Barnett is like, excuse me, I want to cut in and dance. And he's like, nope, you ain't doing that. And dances around. And I just thought it was funny because at this point they're like, oh, I can't believe they did that. Like, you gonna let him make you look like a fool? And in like one of the background actors, I hear one of the background actors go, oh, I ain't seen you since high school. I was like, what? What just happened? Is that real?
the accent, right?
What?
Is the accent?
The
right?
accent? Any of it?
I don't think any. I think I've shared this conspiracy before.
What?
I think the Southern accent's made up.
Not real?
Yeah,
Not
it's,
real,
you're
man?
putting on a show.
Hollywood construct?
Yeah.
The Southerners got tired of that whole, whatever you call it.
Oh, actually,
That continental?
no. You explained it earlier because
Oh.
white people just base their culture like.
Oh, yeah.
We started making fun of them. Listen how these idiots talk, and we well shucks, and how do you do? And then they just watch the Beverly Hillbillies, and they're like, oh, that's how we talk.
I guess that's how we talk now. I mean, everybody keeps doing it.
Can you believe we've been talking wrong this whole
Oh,
time?
dang old time. I mean, to be fair, we all came over here from England, so obviously that happened at some point. Like, that legitimately happened at some point. Our town went, you realize that we all talk in a very silly manner. Let's change our accent. Gadzooks! Yep, that's the one. That's the one. Write that down, put it in the pages, yes. For all eternity, that's how we shall speak. Barnett has his large friend to go over and ask for a dance, and Nick is still like, no, I don't want any.
He asks for a Barnett dance.
Yeah, he asks to dance for somebody like, Barnett wants to dance with your lady. All right, well, you dance with him then, which is what he says. Nick, it sounds like Nick's gonna leave because he's like, I think I'm getting too close to you here. I think it might be best for me to mosey on. And Jake's like, you don't even know me. What are you talking about? And the villains get ready to fight. And they're like, oh boy, we should leave. And he's like, well, I think we should leave, partner. And they talk their way out of it, but Barnett's like, hey, Nick! And punches him in the face. And then Jake's like, don't fight or it's over. And he's like, yes, Mom. Because he's getting real southern with
Yeah.
it.
No,
Trying to
here's
bang
my
his mom.
thing. If Barnett has like a right-hand man who goes and does stuff for him
Yeah.
and supposedly beats up people, why was his reaction to Nick being like, yeah, go dance with him? Just like, oh, well, okay then, I guess.
Yeah, why didn't the big guy
like,
start a fight then?
right, exactly. Why
Yeah.
didn't he punch him or something? It's like, you're supposed to be this guy's like main man. You're supposed to have his back. But you're just like, oh, well, I guess I should go dance with him. Why not?
That's what happens when you just hire a guy because he's big and you don't look into his credentials at all. Like, oh, he's 6'4". I figured like he was a tough guy. I didn't. He's never been in a fight in his
That's
life.
it.
This is
She won't dance with me. Hey, Larry, go ask him to dance. Excuse me, Barnett wants to dance. Okay, boss, I did it. He didn't want to. Now I'm gonna go sit down over there. Like that's one of the times where he throws down his hat and starts jumping.
yeah.
And then, of course, he goes over to the hat dispensing machine and puts in a quarter and takes out a new hat.
Disposable comb, condom, hat.
Right in the head. So yeah, they leave. Bye. See ya. Bye. In the car, I want to point out, still very drunk, now driving Nick. So drunk driving Nick.
It was all right back then.
No, but everyone thought it was. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't okay, but they thought it was okay. So they talk about how, I can't believe you took away what I was going to do. I can't believe you dated Barnett. Oh, I guess I forgive you. It's okay. Like, immediately he's like, I can't believe you did this. This is going to take... my total opinion changed. I'm going to have to think about this. I thought about it. You're human. I'm human. We're all humans. Let's move on.
I thought about it. My brain's done growing.
Yeah.
There ain't no room to worry about.
It's so... The comedy in this film, sometimes it's outrageously stupid.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you go, that's astutely self-aware.
Yeah.
But I don't know which is which.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. So, again, same thing is then after he goes, well, you know what, but it's okay, I forgive you, we're all humans. Then Jake goes, you know what, you're right. Thank you for forgiving me. Also, you're really full of it. And he goes, yes, I am. And they both laugh. And I go, I don't know what happened in this fucking scene. I have no clue what happened. So, suddenly we're doing singing training again. And it's kind of like the farm work singing where they're singing in the field and they're singing on the porch. Ah, shut up, Daddy. You snore worse than my guitar. Ha ha. And they sing over here and they sing over there. It's just, whatever.
Yeah.
We go to the bathroom and Nick is singing pretty well, actually, into the mirror. And then Jake shows up and he hits on Jake. And like, maybe we can go into the room and practice the moves. And then Daddy's like, you gonna make that racket all night? And they're like, Daddy said something. No sex now.
Yeah.
And they both go to opposite rooms, even though they both...
The dad was just asking if they were going to be banging all night.
Yeah.
That's what racket he meant.
Oh, was that the racket?
Yeah.
I thought he meant the singing, because he was singing loud, and then they quietly hit on each other. But apparently he wasn't very quiet.
No.
No. Okay, so... Then we go to, suddenly, the cut and slice. And Jake, again, that's Dolly Parton, is on stage, and Nick is pacing nervously. Jake finishes her song, and she goes, I want to introduce to you Howlin' Nick Martin. And I was like, wait, his name isn't Martin.
No.
And I looked it up, and I was like, I guess Martinelli, Martin. All right. So Barnett's like, you better get off the stage, boy. And I go, wow, this is a really small club. Because he says it the exact volume that I just said it, and they hear every word. Like, it's a very small club. So they just trade insults back and forth, and eventually everyone decides that Barnett lost. Like, okay. Apparently country music is just a roast battle.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just like wilding out.
Oh, Barnett there's got a rusty zipper and yellow boots.
Yep, that's him. You must know him so well. So, Nick and Jake, excuse me. They sing Woke Up in Love, which is, last night we went to bed as strangers and woke up in love. And I presume this song is supposed to completely explain why they suddenly have mutual attraction for each other. Because the movie itself doesn't do a very good job of explaining that.
Listen, Dolly, we don't have time to write any more scenes into the script, so just make a song about what happens between your characters.
No, it's not a real musical, right? Like, it's not... Yeah, I know. We know that. We don't think anybody else will. So, yeah, they say, oh, now we're attracted to each other. After the song, they're like, you did it, Nick. He's like, almost. Now I'm going to do it. And he goes to fight Barnett. And Jake's like, no, I want to do it. Fwap, and punches Barnett in the face. And then they argue, like, oh, you got to stop doing that, my masculinity. You're going to give me a complex. And he keeps pushing Barnett and punching him and pushing him while they're talking about this. And she's like, I think he just did it. And they're like, oh, Gadzoo. Like, this whole thing 100% reminds me of like a country western music show where they sing a song and they go, well, what's wrong with you? Nothing. What's wrong with me? Oh, I mean you. Like, and it's just like some really like down folksy comedy bit. Like, that's what it was to me. And I was like,
how you gonna punch a man who insults you? I'm supposed to do that. Like,
I'm a man. I'm supposed to take care of things. Huh. Well, I think you just did. Well, look at him on the ground all beat up. Next song.
What's that? Bang, 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 bang.
Oh, the
bang.
like mouth harmonica, I think it's called, or
All harmonicas are mouth harmonicas.
no, like a inside the mouth harmonica. Harmonicas are lip harmonicas. This one is a mouth harmonica. All right, it's a teeth harmonica.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, so yeah, we're friends now. Yeah. Also, this song confuses me because they sing a song about how we were strangers, but now we're in love. And then after that, they sing a song about how we're just friends. Great friends, that's all.
Because they're not married, and therefore they can't be sleeping with each other in the South. Therefore, they're just friends. Fucking buddies, but just friends.
Okay. I'm sure that makes sense somewhere to someone.
Because in the South, they believe in Jesus. Jesus said, don't have sex with nobody unless you're married to them.
Jesus said, don't have sex with anybody unless you're married to them or you're fucking buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you just said. That's the word of the Lord. No sex unless marriage or you're fuck buddies. You FWBs. Oh, man.
That's old Jesus saying, look, we all know the rules are don't bang nobody till you're married, but look, we all got fuck buddies.
Look, don't have sex before marriage unless they're DTF. Then, I mean, why not? What are you going to do, waste time? We already established in an episode much earlier, WWJD, stick it in raw.
Yes.
Yes. So we already know that. That's why you shouldn't have sex till marriage, because you stick it in raw, you're gonna have kids.
That's it.
See? The whole fucking thing goes full circle. You see that? I like it.
Jesus wasn't trying to do anything, like, he wasn't doing it to be a jerk. He was just trying to protect you, make sure you're settling down when you pop that kid out.
I think we're actually just preaching now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Whoops. Accidental evangelists. Accidental
dude.
evangelists.
When I did the seminar way back with DiBiase.
Oh, the Ted DiBiase wrestling seminar.
He did a wrestling seminar, and then at the end, he's like, all right, guys, come on, why don't you gather around? I just want to tell you guys about how to make it in wrestling. You got to yada, yada, and this, and have faith in the Lord, because the Lord's going to... And then he just preached for like 15 minutes.
You tricked me into paying for your sermon, you jerk.
That's like, what is it, the fed that Bobby Rydell runs, Pro Wrestling Revolution, I think it's called, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, at the end of the show, at the end of the show, they do, like, for a good, like, 10 minutes, like, a prayer and, like, a whole little thing of, like, yeah, God loves you, and God wants you to know that, and, you know...
That we'll be coming back to this arena July 22nd.
And the Lord wants you to get the tickets.
Going on sale on the website live now.
Like, if you're going to do that, at least do it before the show.
Oh, like pray before?
Yeah.
Because the main event ends, and then everyone wants to, unless they do like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, before our main event.
Like in just, not even like tasteless or like in the interest of wrestling fans, just pray before the shit happens. Like, don't, the show's over. Well, Lord, thank you for not killing anybody. You probably should have asked about that beforehand, but we was too busy counting the money. Like, you fucking, if you're gonna be religious, be proactively religious, is what I'm saying.
I gotta say, if I was a booker on, like, you know, welcome to the Jesus Wrestling Federation, whatever, like, there'd be a gimmick.
Tonight, it's Buddha versus the Taoist Lord.
Like 10 o'clock hits, and the match has to pause so everyone can pray, but then the heel's like, and just, like, hits him with a chair.
I'm not here for the prayer.
I mean,
prayers.
is it too much if, like, the guy is like praying to Allah.
Dude, look, wrestling fans are fucking pansies these days. I don't understand why the second WWE came out with the Be a Star campaign, don't bully anybody, be a friend of it. The second that happened, every heel wrestler should have started bullying people.
Yes.
It makes goddamn, like,
Yes.
what is the point of a bad guy if they never do anything actually evil? If all your villains just go, I don't like you. Okay, bye. Like, who gives a shit? Kick my wife in the face. Do something to put emotion into it. Like, it makes no sense to me that wrestling just falls over. It's like when the whole 9/11 thing happened, and they had Muhammad Hassan, and they did the whole terror. They should have kept going. The fact that somebody went, this is horrible, we're going to stop investing with you. Yes. They should have went 9 more guys like that. Yes. Throw them out there.
Send more guys in. It's out there.
Are you kidding me? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. People start complaining about, your bad guys are bad. You're fucking duh. Also, your smart guys are dumb, so you should really take a second to realize what you're talking about.
You want to bring it back to the 70s and the 80s where heels would get attacked. People would try to stab them.
Yeah. That's the whole point. You're supposed to enrage people. Nobody's enraged. Who's buying tickets? 6-year-olds.
Yes.
Yay! Congratulations. You put your body, heart, and soul into a daycare center. It's a good thing that wrestling is also Southern, because otherwise this would be totally out of place. Yeah. It would be really out of fucking place. But it all makes sense. It's fine. Okay, so we go back to the bathroom. Jake is singing in the mirror again. And Dad shows up and he's like, hey, I want you to take my colorful raccoon suit. And he's like, I do not want it.
Well,
you mean Nick?
Nick.
Why
You said Jake.
You said Jake.
Dolly Parton's not in this scene. Everybody else is. All that stuff happened. You puzzle piece it together. Now, after that, we go to Jake's room.
Oh, my God. Who is Dolly Parton?
Yeah, we go to Dolly Parton's room. She's playing a guitar, so Nick goes and investigates, and, like, she's like, whatever, anyway. So Nick is like, no, Dolly Parton is like, hey, Sly Stallone, let me teach you these guitar chords. And Sly Stallone's like, no, let me show you sex instead.
Well, you missed the part where he opens the door and she's in the dark playing the guitar.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah.
100% no light.
Yeah.
The moonlight is the only light, and there's no moonlight.
And you clearly knew she was DTF because as soon as he walks in, she's like, oh, hi there. What is it? Perfect Body?
Yeah, it's because she was singing a song, and in the song she went, and his perfect body, and that's when he opened the door, and he's like, oh, perfect timing, perfect body.
Clearly. She knew what was going on.
Yeah, it was clearly
everyone
a fuck
knew.
thing, though. It was
Clearly.
We all knew it was happening. So, yeah, they kind of blame each other for not having sex sooner, and then they kiss, and then they actually have sex. And suddenly we're in New York.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay. And everyone's singing at Nick's family. Oh, maybe it's not his restaurant. I said it was Nick's family restaurant, but they don't have a restaurant. They have a funeral parlor.
No, it's the restaurant in front of the funeral
It's
parlor.
their funeral parlor / restaurant. To be fair, that's probably not a bad idea. People who go to funerals then usually...
Yeah, they always go out and eat afterwards.
That's
Like,
fucking-
oh, that's, you know.
Although, on the flip side, it's probably got to be a little creepy eating knowing there's dead people in the next room. Never mind, forget the whole
Well,
thing.
and you got it. And, like, the way it works is you go to the funeral and it's like, oh, well, you know, in between showings, you got to, like, repowder. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh, man.
that's no good.
Like, Grandpa's in the next room. And
You know what? Now that I think about this, we're like literally one lazy news reporter away from they switched the ovens when they. That's it. The whole thing's both of them. Both are done. Nobody's bringing that dead. Nobody's
there are
coming for
crunchy
food.
bits in my spaghetti and meatballs.
It's leftover pizza parts. It's fine. It's crust. Pizza parts. That'll convince them.
Crunchy, bony pizza
Parts. You know, parts of pizzas. Which parts? You know, the parts that pizzas have.
They don't know we mean Steve Pizza.
Steve Pizza of the pizza family. Covered himself in pizza crumbs. That's what you're eating. Pizza crumbs that fell off his dead body. I mean... So everybody sings and cheers, and Nick's dad makes a very depressing speech about how Nick was probably retarded. And then Nick's like, thanks, Dad. Here's Jake. And then Dolly Parton has to make a speech. She's like, I don't know why I'm here, but once this is over, everybody's going to have what they want. And Sly Stallone's like, whoa, what do you mean? I mean, I don't want to be a taxi driver. I want to be a singer now. It's great. And she's like, listen, dude, you've been singing for 2 weeks. You can't be a singer now. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you know, when we were on stage and people were cheering for you? Well, I was next to you, so all those cheers were for me. Well, he's like, no, I'm a good singer. And she's like, no, you're garbage. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure I can make it. She's like, no, you definitely can't sing at all ever for no reason. And he's like, oh, well, I'll still be at that contest we have to win later. I was just like, you're the worst fucking coach ever, Dolly Parton. You still haven't won the contest, and you just told your fucking protege, oh no.
Oh no, you're garbage.
No, yeah.
This is a total, I'm only doing this to win this bet.
Zero chance.
You clearly took the wrong message from this.
Wrong everything. Everything you got wrong about being wrong.
You did your job. You learned how to sing, you banged me. It's over.
I sang a little, you sang a little. Your penis sang a little.
Yeah.
Then I sang a little more. Woo. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that part means. So, the weird, I thought it was so weird, is the whole time when he's like, I want to be a singer, and she's like, you ain't a singer? The family is in, like, this weird game show where they're like, take the cab, do the cab. Like, you know, yelling at him. Like, I'm waiting for someone to go, door 2, pick door 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, they insult each other and blah, 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 and Dolly Parton's like, oh, I should just call the bet off and sleep with Freddie. And everyone's like, oh, I can't believe this lady we never met who's going to sleep with a guy we don't know about. This whole thing is shocking. It's just, oh, man. So Jake is like, forget it. The whole thing's off. I'm leaving. She leaves. And as she's leaving, Nick just goes, not for me. I'm still going to be there and I'm going to win. You know, next we go to the Rhinestone bar. At the Rhinestone bar, Dolly Parton is just singing a song about heartache. And it's in this scene I realized that Dolly Parton can only play open chords. Because you got to press down on the neck of the guitar with your fingers. Mm-hmm. And she has, like, 9-inch fingernails. Like, she has the... Do you notice it? Like, I don't look at her hands.
No.
She, like, legitimately, she probably has a good, I'd say, like, a 4-inch thick fingernail. Long.
What the fuck?
Like, as much as she's going, no, you gotta be down home country cooking south, y'all.
She sold out.
Yeah, those nails are you selling the fuck out. Like, yeah. So, her waitress friend from earlier that I didn't mention, she was only in like half of one scene. She comes over, she's like, oh, don't worry, everything's fine. Like, it's not your fault, you know. Freddie has lined up some of the worst hecklers that this city even has. Like, he wouldn't have won. And Dolly Parton's like, oh, but, you know, maybe he could have, and that, you know, that's terrible. And she's like, why is that terrible? It's like, oh, because then he would have went off and been a singer, and he wouldn't have been very good, and he would have wound up in a gutter. And I was like, you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, that is an immense amount of pressure to put on yourself. Like, I can't imagine being a teacher and going like, imagine being the teacher that told Hitler his art wasn't good. Like, I gotta quit being a teacher. I can't be that teacher. That's too much. Like the logic there is like, you know how sometimes in bars, people get into fights and they break bottles and they use them as knives to stab each other, and then they get brought to the hospital by an ambulance driver, but sometimes the ambulance driver, he doesn't make it there in time. So then the doctor has to work super hard, but he can't, and the guy dies, and then the doctor has to tell the family that the guy died. That's why I wouldn't open a beer bottle company. What are you talking? That's so far disconnected. Like, it's not your fault, Dolly Parton. You teach him how to sing. What he does with his singing is his business. So she's like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and ask Freddie to call the whole bet off. So she leaves. Later, the next day, whatever, the whole thing is jumping. Nick is getting ready to sing. He's getting ready to, the people on stage are getting heckled. The whole thing is jumping, like I said. We go to Freddie's place. Jake, Dolly Parton, wants to talk to Freddie, and Freddie's like, yeah, I want to talk to you too. He's in his smoking jacket and all that stuff. Like, it's in his mind that the bet's already over and he's won. Like, he's not waiting to like, this is when the bet happens. I better go down to the Rhinestone to see if... No, he is like, let me oil up my dick now. Like, he is ready to go. We go back to the Rhinestone, and a waitress tells Nick, who's still walking around pacing, oh, Jake's not here. She went to Freddie's place. He's like, oh, okay, sure, no problem. And he runs out the door. He tries to get a taxi. We go back to Freddie's place. Freddie wants to drink, but Dolly Parton's like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. She says that the bet's off, but Freddie is like, oh, the bet's off? No, that means you lose. And he starts his weird, like, Quagmire from Family Guy-esque, hitting all the buttons and shit, making the fire go. His fireplace is just a neon sign of fire. Did you notice that? Oh my God,
I didn't notice that.
They're sitting on the couch and he goes, boop, boop, and he presses the button and you hear the, like the fireplace start, but you just see a neon fire sign start and it's just like 3 like boop, boop, boop.
Yeah,
boop,
that's
boop.
great. I can't believe I missed that.
It was crazy. So, back at the Rhinestone, Nick still needs a taxi and he's like, okay, fine, I'll take the horse, the Rhinestone horse that everybody knows about and loves. Sure,
yeah.
Whatever. So he rides it through the city to Freddie's place. He gets to the apartment building. The guards try to stop him until he says he's going to Freddie Hugo's place. And they go, oh, that's totally...
Okay,
yeah, of course you would be.
Yeah.
Let him go. Let him do whatever he wants. Up in Freddie's place, Nick...
So wait, does this...
What?
This is him riding into Trump Tower then, right?
Yeah, into Trump Tower. Yeah, on horseback. Okay. Totally fine.
Yep.
He goes up to... What do you call it? Freddie's place. He hears screaming and yelling. So he tried, again, Stallone, he tries to break down the door, boom, boom, boom. They're like, you're not going to break it down? It's 3 inches thick. And I go, that's not that very thick.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing, too, when I said that.
That's not very thick. So, yeah, as soon as Nick breaks the door open, that's when Dolly Parton punches Freddie out of the room. Freddie goes, that's it, the bet's over, and I'm adding 5 years to your contract, Jake. And Nick goes, or somebody who isn't, he goes, no, the bet's not over until midnight tonight, something nobody established.
Yeah, nobody said that.
And also, we've got 35 minutes left. Okay, fine. So, which means to me that the amateur talent hour is 11:45 at night. Like, that's a weird time to start your amateur talent hour. So we go back to the Rhinestone. They're like, yeah, come on, let's go, Dolly Parton, me and you are going to sing on stage. And she goes, no, you don't get it. It's just you, by yourself. And he's like, on stage, Dolly Parton introduces Nick to the crowd. He comes out. They mock his clothes. One guy has a noisemaker, like one of those, one of those little roll-up, no, you get out of the fucking building. You're banned if you're bringing that shit in. That's my club. These
are tough New York cowboys.
So, Sly Stallone very meekly sings, stay out of my bedroom, stay out of my bedroom. And they're like, then... He's like, all right, forget it. If I'm going to lose my way. And he gets the band to play a funky bass line. He's like, the South will rise again. Yeah.
And this is what gets everyone wound up.
Yeah.
Riled up. And we're in New York City.
I don't, like, nothing makes sense in this movie. Nothing makes sense. So, yeah, the crowd goes, yeah, well, and they start clapping and hooting and hollering, and they get into it, and everyone just unspokenly agrees, yeah, no, Nick clearly won. This crowd's into it. Nick won. Jake won. They win. So, Jake comes on stage, Dolly Parton, and they sing together, oh, bah, 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 and the big finish, stay out of my bedroom, and the crowd's like, yeah, best thing ever. Nick Sly Stallone's like, oh, give me Jake's contract, and Freddie's like, here you go. Hey, is she any good? And you know, is she any good? And he goes, oh, the best. Oh. Turns into Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
and then Nick and Jake sing another song. Yay! The end. Over credits. That's it. It's over. Ta-da.
The climax of the film, a rousing Music number.
Every part of this film, I go, that should have been like. I feel like I should have cared about that. I really should have cared about more. But
I feel indifferent.
Yeah, the whole time I was just like, oh, well, that happened. Sure. Anyway. All right, so yeah, I don't want to, but could you make a sequel? Like I don't fucking want to make a sequel to this movie. But yeah, Danny Money, what do you got?
The sequel starts off as Nick pursuing his singing career, and of course, it failing badly, not going well, which leads Nick to going back to being a taxi driver. Which, oh no, who's in his car but the character that Travolta plays in Saturday Night Fever? And now he must teach whatchamacallit, Nick, how to dance all to disco in order to win a disco contest.
Oh, God, no. Oh, that's awful. God damn it. $4 million.
Yeah.
At least. 1980s, $4 million.
So even though this is the 80s, they're going to learn disco.
Yeah, disco's not dead.
Yeah.
It's coming back. You know, remember there's like a small disco revival in like 89, 90, something
That's
like
like
that?
in, I don't know if you remember, like the late 90s, 2000.
When swing,
yeah.
Yes.
I'll never forget that.
Yes.
That was the weirdest thing that ever happened.
It's that weird half year. Yeah.
Like
Old Navy commercial.
Yeah, it was big. The big band swing.
Who doesn't want to take their girlfriend and just fucking swing her?
Fucking do my laundry. Ah! Isn't music great?
Let go, I'm trying to throw you.
Why don't you understand? This is how we're breaking up. Yeah, that would disgustingly make money, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, just disappointingly would make money. Delta.
Okay, so for a sequel, we got to take it in a different direction, right?
Oh.
This one didn't perform great at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes place a few years later. Sly Stallone, he realized, music's not for me. So, music's singing ain't for him. But he becomes Dolly Parton's new manager. They move out to L.A., so it takes place, right? 90s, L.A., it's hip. He goes to meet a new client. In the midst of the meeting, the client is killed.
What?
And Stallone is framed. So then Stallone and Dolly Parton have to go on a rousing shoot-'em-up adventure to prove their innocence. Look, it's 90s. We're going to capitalize on what Stallone does.
Yeah.
That's what it is? Is it Stop or My Mom Will Shoot? Is that who Dolly Parton ends up becoming? Is it still Getty?
Yes.
Yes.
Based on how white women age.
Age appropriate. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not his mom. It's like his ma. Like, that's some weird southern pet name.
Yeah, it's his girlfriend, but being that she looks so old, the audience didn't like the term girlfriend, so they went with mom.
It's his mom the way like Ronald Reagan called his wife mom. Isn't that him, Ronald Reagan? No.
I don't know.
No.
But that
He used
wouldn't
to call
surprise me.
Yeah, I think it was him. He used to call his wife mother. Was that like Eisenhower? One
Ugh.
of those guys.
Yeah, that's a little weird either way.
No kids either. No, I have no idea. I've got no clue. Makes a little more sense if they have kids, but
Man, wait, that's one of those. That's a southern thing. What do you think, mama? And they're like talking about his wife. And it's like, well, yeah, you're the mom, but don't.
It's whatever. It's the same thing when whatever. Anyway,
Fucking dirty Southerners.
Anyway, my sequel is kind of like you're in the wackiness of yours, which is Freddie gives them the contract. Right, here's your contract back, but he quelches or whatever you say that word, relinquishes.
Okay.
On the deal, and he doesn't pay up for the taxi money.
Welch is on the bet.
Yeah, he Welshes on the bet. He's
Welsh. Yes.
Yeah, he's a Welsh.
He's a Welshman on the bet.
Well,
Hunter, I'm glad you know the same.
The only Welsh, it's the one from Futurama.
Yeah.
So he doesn't deliver on the deal, and they're like, I gotta get my money. So they want to get their money from him. But what happens? He escapes to Africa.
Okay.
So they gotta do a double fish out of water comedy where they're both like, Africa, whoa! And she's like, Africa, oh my!
Look at all these black folks.
Sure, no, we weren't gonna dwell on that at all.
Oh.
It was just gonna be like animals and like culture. No black folks at all. And then it turns out that where they're trying to get the the money from Freddie, he's got a secret treasure hidden in like somewhere in Africa. So now they gotta hunt the treasure down. And there's like a horse ride, and there's like a mine cart ride, and it's all grand as gold, and it's all over the place. It's great. Yeah, that's what it is.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's the early 90s,
Yeah.
City Slickers, Indiana Jones. It's all that, like, adventure going on. I really like City Slickers, huh?
Yeah.
It's the only Western movie I know. That is it. It's the one where... I don't even know Wild Wild West. To be fair, it's not a Western film. It's a sci-fi film.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West is a sci-fi film. It's a steampunk film, which is a sci-fi film. So, Wild Wild West. Not a Western.
Yeah.
No, Hollywood still has ideas, trust me. Okay. So, naked in math class. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
How many times, this is kind of an opinion piece, but whatever. How many times did you think Stallone was going to sing in this film?
Like, as I was watching it, I was like, oh, here comes the singing. Or, like, before I watched it, I
No,
was
before
like,
you watched it, you're like, he's probably going to sing like...
once.
Yeah, what did you
I
say?
figured like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that's what I figured, like 2 or 3 myself. No, he sung for the organ music.
Yep.
There's 3 different songs during the rehearsals. He sung twice in the bathroom. He sung 2 different songs at the bar. And then, depending on whether or not you count the way he sung Stay Out of My Bedroom.
Oh, without, yeah.
And then he changed it to Stay Out of My Bedroom. So that's 2 to 3.
Okay.
So, you do the math. Question 2. I wrote this down wrong because I was going to write one question, then I was going to write. So, how much are Dolly Parton's tits worth? I was going to ask how big they were, but then apparently they are famously big. So I was like, never mind.
I'm going to say it's probably like 75% of her net worth. What?
So what do you think her
I
net worth
don't know
is?
what her net worth is. She's a millionaire for sure.
Okay.
So they're worth...
50,000.
No.
$50,000. Each breast is insured for $300,000, meaning they're both totally... Excuse me.
600.
They were both totally insured for $600,000 in 1970, which adjusted for inflation means they're worth about $4 million each. No, excuse me, together.
Damn.
Together, sorry, not each. $4 million together. Just on her chest.
It was her whole image.
Yeah, it was.
She gets stabbed in the tip, makes $2 million for getting stabbed.
Yeah, if anything happens to them, like medical or like if they just start to deflate for some reason, she gets like $4 million.
They just
Yeah.
start to deflate.
I was looking at this and I was seeing like other people like, oh, I could see like Angelina Jolie insured her lips. I can understand that. J-Lo, her butt. Oh, I can understand that. Some people did like their legs or Miley Cyrus did her tongue. I can understand that's their... So, like, Madonna was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to insure my breasts.
Okay.
You have
Yeah.
those? Like, what do you... Like, what do you... Like, okay, go ahead. You do that. I think it's too late. And this was... After I looked up how... First, I looked up how big Dolly Parton's tits were, and they were like, they are famously 44 double D breasts. And I was like, oh, famously?
Yeah.
I won't ask that question.
Yeah.
Then. So then I looked up, I wonder if they're, like, record-breaking. No, the largest tits are, like, I forget, size... Well, she wears a size 52I breast, like, not breast, bra. But apparently, according to measurements, she should be a 48V.
V?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they had an I or a V.
They don't. 52I is the largest that is in manufacturing at the time, I guess, in 99. So,
Right.
yeah. And looking up all that, I was like, I can't believe that's crazy. So then I went to ask the question, how do you know if you have the right bra size?
You get measured?
Yeah, that's how I would figure. You
Well,
just measure
yeah, how do you measure it then?
with a tape measure.
Yeah.
I can fuck yourself.
I'm like, I don't know what he wants.
The point is, it's a lot more complicated than that. First, you measure your band size, which, for clarity's sake, there's 3 parts to a bra. There's the band that goes around your back. Mm-hmm. There's the straps that go around your shoulder, and then there's the cups.
Right.
So you measure your band size, which is from wherever your band would lay on your back, around under your armpits, over the top of your chest, or under your chest, depending on, like, each size has a different measure type. That's your band size. Then, you do the same thing, but around your back where the band is, under the armpits, over the nipples, and that's your bust size. You take those two numbers and you subtract them. That difference in inches relates to a cup size, and then you take that cup size and your band size, and that's your bra size. So 44 double D Dolly Parton, that's because, or excuse me, 40 double D, that's because her chest measures a 40, and then the difference between the largest part of her breasts and her chest
Double D.
is double D, which is something like 5 inches or something like that. And then on top of that, that's only America, because in Europe, they recognize, in America, double D is E.
Right.
It's like D, then it's double D, which is also E. Then it's triple D, which is also F. Then it's quadruple G, which is also G, and then like that. In other countries, like in Europe, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then in other countries, it's A, B, C, D, double D, F, E, F, G. Like it's just you have no clue. Like it's such a fucking haphazard mess of trying to figure out how to just wear an undergarment.
Yeah.
Like what literally chest underwear. It should just be. I'm done.
Nope.
No.
Fuck you, women.
Yeah. Like I would never blame any woman ever if they just went, I'm just going to wear a sports bra forever.
Yeah.
Because that,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just so much easier in general.
Small, medium, large. Okay.
It just squishes in there and you're done. That's how underwear works for guys. You just squish them in there, or you get like they're boxers. It's just like, technically not loincloths. That's what boxers are. They're technically not loincloths.
They're loincloths that wrap all the way around.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. All right, yeah, so why would you make this? Okay, first off, Stallone reportedly turned down the roles of both Romancing the Stone and Beverly Hills Cop to make this movie.
Who would have been Beverly Hills Cop?
Before Eddie Murphy joined, it was supposed to be like a serious cop film.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was paid $5 million and got a percentage of the gross, which I'm glad. I would love it if somebody screwed up somewhere and go, hey, yeah, and I want a percentage of the net, and then they lose money and go, okay, you owe us money now.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't make enough money, so you have to pay us for this shitty film. Also, we have to point out that the original screenwriter, Philip Alden Robinson, was so offended by Stallone's reworking of the script that he briefly considered having his name removed from the credits. But somebody convinced him otherwise, that like having his name on a film of this caliber would be great.
So is Stallone kind of like Bruce Willis in the same way he was like, fuck you, we're doing it my way?
I don't know if that's the way it was, but on IMDb, the writers of this film are Philip Alden Robinson and Sylvester Stallone. So he rewrote enough of the script they're like, no, you wrote this film, dude. You have to get a credit.
Well, you know what it is. He wrote and directed Rocky, and he's like, you do that. No, seriously, you do that and you win an Oscar. Then it's like, look, fuck you. I wrote Rocky. Let me see the script.
Yeah, I wrote Rocky, so
I thought you were in the middle of the yawn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm tired, guys. Did he really write Rocky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane. Does he write all his movies?
Not all. I think he wrote the first one and the second one. Maybe he's written them all. I don't know.
No, I don't think he wrote all of them. I think he just wrote the first two.
Okay. I know he wrote the first two, though.
Huh. Yeah. All right, well, later on, Stallone said that it was the most fun he ever had working on a movie, and that he wants to tell everyone that the director was supposed to be somebody else, Mike Nichols, and that it was supposed to be a New York down and dirty Dolly and I getting with like gutsy mannerisms, and like it was like two antagonists brought together by fate who didn't want to be there and they had to work together, something like that. I wanted the music, he's saying, I wanted the music to have a bizarre edge and all this stuff, and I contacted Whitesnake when I was writing it, and they had some songs that they were to sing with Dolly Parton. And then it come down to Fox, and the director Bob Clark stepped out, and he was like, "Yeah, we're going to go in a different direction." And he said that it smashed. Oh no, excuse me. It literally shattered his internal corn meter to smithereens.
Whatever that means.
I don't know that. Yeah, but it did it. He just says that he would have, made the movie go in a different direction. And he would only have used comedy if it was dark, like Belgian chocolate dark comedy.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, silly doesn't work for him, he says. I mean, like he says, nobody wants to see John Wayne in a whimsical farce, which is exactly what we saw.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's like, I wouldn't have wasted the audience's time. And then recently, I don't know when recently is, but now, he's like, yeah, I regret that film. That was a mistake. So, I mean, I don't know why it was made, but I can tell you why it fell down the hill that it ended up on the bottom of. So, yeah, that was the film, Rhinestone. Please join us next time along with Queen Latifah, Dolly Parton, and Keke Palmer when we continue Dolly Parton Month by watching the 2012 comedy drama music Joyful Noise.
I thought it was Stallone month.
No.
Really?
It's Dolly Parton Month.
Yeah. She has her own theme park. She has her own month.
Yeah. She's not a mother, so I figured we'd do Mother's Day all for her. That's offensive, isn't it? Good. So, yeah, join us for that, and let's do some plugs. VictoryProWrestling.com.
Oh, well, Victory Pro Wrestling returns live to Center East Long Island, New York, June 10th.
15th.
No, I'm pretty sure it's June 10th.
June 10th,
That sounds right. I know the tickets are on sale, and you can check out VictoryProWrestling.com, but I am on the ballot for the Fans' Choice match, so it could be me versus Fighter Cat for the New York State title. There's a handful of choices. Maybe it could be a blindfold match, it could be a lumberjack match, and there's something else. Maybe a no DQ match.
It should be like a gimmick match, like a kitty litter match, or
Litter match.
like a litter box match. There's something hidden under the litter, and you got to dig it out.
Oh, that'd be messy.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. It's not my fucking
kitty
venue.
litter dust everywhere.
Don't you remember when I wanted to do the gimmick where I was the manager to the beach bum, and he would only come out if I poured sand on the ground, so he would walk on the sand? They were like, we're not doing that gimmick. I was like, it'll be great, come on. I won't buy a vacuum. It'll be great. All right, so VictoryProWrestling.com. You can go to www.ymt.com, which is actually a website now. It's actually finally up. We've got links to some of our episodes. We'll have all of them eventually, probably, like within the week. We've got links to our YouTube, to our Facebook. You can contact us there. You can look at pictures on our Facebook. We'll probably put pictures on our website eventually. Let's go in there. Again, the YouTube. Please check out the YouTube. We've got some funny videos. We've got ideas just piling up.
Yeah.
Just piling and piling up, and we will film them eventually one day when we figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to talk to us, like maybe answer any of the questions, if you want to answer some of the questions we asked in Negative Math class, how many times did you think Stallone was going to sing in this film? How did you think bra sizes were measured? Let us know.
Yeah.
Go to the Facebook. Please tell us, because we were flabbergasted when we figured it out, and we'd love to know what you thought was the real way things were done. And you could do that again by going to our Facebook at facebook.com/whywouldyoumake or you can contact us on a Twitter. I am at Time Commander J Delta.
I am at the J Delta.
Danny Money.
At WWYMT.
Yes, that's what it is. The intro music is Falling Off Your Love. Excuse me, an edited version of Falling Off Your Love by Kill Paris. Taking us out today, we will sing the song Drinkenstein. Maybe.
Yeah.
No, we will. I don't know. We'll do it, though. So, for Danny Money and J Delta, I am Jimmy Time. Please remember that without the mistakes of others, we'd be forced to endure the pain of failures ourselves. Support the arts. It's just like... And it just goes...
Budweiser, you
Created a monster. They call him Drinkenstein. And the tavern down the street is the laboratory where he makes his transformation all the time. And the stein of Dr. Bud is a pint of monster's blood. And it doesn't make different all the time. Budweiser, you created a monster. And they call him Drinkenstein. And they call me Drinkenstein. Yeah! Woo! I'm Drinkenstein. I'm Drinkenstein. I'm Drinkenstein.
He's Drinkenstein.
He's Drinkenstein.
He's Drinkenstein. He's Drinkenstein. Drinkenstein.
Drinkenstein.